Good morning. This is Vennessia Hill. I'm a nurse at Eastpointe, and our topic for today is burnout. Has it got the best of you? Do you feel like you're burning the candle at both ends sometimes? Burnout is a state of emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion, and it's caused by excessive and prolonged stress. And it occurs when we feel overwhelmed and unable to meet the constant demands. And as the stress continues, we begin to lose motivation or interest in what we need to do, what our role is. So, burnout can really affect our productivity. It saps our energy and it leaves us feeling helpless and hopeless. We get where we're cynical and then we get resentful to the people that we're trying to help. And eventually we're going to get to the point where we just have nothing else to give. So, how do you know if you're on the road to burnout? One of the things is every day's a bad day. Doesn't matter what happens, just nothing good happens. And if you care, it just seems like a waste of energy. Doesn't do you any good to care. You're always exhausted, and everything you do is dull or boring. It's just one more thing. And if you do get it done, you don't feel like anybody appreciates what you're doing. So, some of the work related causes of burnout can be our job expectations. Are they unclear? Are they overly demanding? Sometimes it could just be boring. We do the same thing over and over again. It doesn't change. It's not challenging us. It could be just the opposite, though, that we work in chaos or high pressure. We feel underpaid, underappreciated, or criticized for things that we can't control. So some of the rules we feel are unreasonable. Now, there's a difference between stress and burnout. Burnout is the result of unrelenting stress, but it isn't the same as too much stress. When we think about stress, that involves too much or too many pressures that demand too much of us physically or psychologically. So, stressed people can still imagine that things are going to get better. But burnout, we're just not enough. There's not enough time. There's not enough of us. We feel empty. We have no motivation. And it's beyond caring. It doesn't do me any good to care because it doesn't matter. So sometimes it's our lifestyle that causes burnout. We feel trapped for economic reasons. We can't quit our job because we need that income coming in. We have to keep going to work. It could be that we're working too much. And it could be that people expect too much of us for either what we know, what we have time to do. Think about the situation that we found ourselves in since March. If you didn't work from home, well, if you're lucky enough to have a job, then you start working from home. Your spouse may be working from home if they're lucky enough to keep their job. And then on top of that, if you have school age children, guess what? You're teaching homeschooling. And so, just within a weekend, there was a lot more pressure to do stuff, a lot more stuff to do. And it just seems like that we have that constant attending to needs of others. Not only do we have to do what we were supposed to do, we're working on top of that. We have other people in the house that we're not used to, and everybody needs a piece of us. It could be that we don't get enough sleep, and it could be that we don't have, the close personal relationship that we can depend on somebody. Now, the other thing that can happen is our personality. Do we set unrealistic goals for ourselves? Do we have those perfectionistic tendencies? It could be that we have a pessimistic view of the world. We need to be in control. Nobody else can do it. I have to do it because it won't be done right if I don't do it. So it's that high achieving type A personality, which can be good, that ambitious, but we get rigid and we get to where we're a workaholic. So, how do you know What's the signs and symptoms of burnout? Because there are physical and emotional and behavioral symptoms. So if we pay attention to the early warning signs, we can prevent a major breakdown. But if we ignore them, it's just like that check engine light on our car. It's going to break down if we don't take care of it. So the physical signs and symptoms, we're just tired all the time. Doesn't matter what we do, doesn't matter if we get rest, don't get rest, we feel the same. Then what happens is our immune system gets low and then we get sick easy. And it's like, that's just one more thing that we need, that we get sick on top of everything else that we have to do. Could be that we have frequent headaches, we have that muscle pain, that it's just all that tension in our shoulders and neck. And then we can get those changes in our eating or sleeping habits. We're either going to eat and sleep too much or not enough. And when we do eat, we're not eating nutritious stuff. We're eating junk food, the chips, the crackers. We get full, but it doesn't do our body any good. And then we have the emotional signs and symptoms. We feel like we're a sense of failure, and we start doubting ourselves. There's nothing I can do right. And so we feel trapped and defeated and all alone. And when we start feeling like that, we don't have any motivation to do anything else. And we get that negative outlook. And life revolves around what we need to do, but it doesn't give us any satisfaction anymore. And we can get angry at the people that we sense that's making the work assignments, whether that's teachers over the computer, whether it's our bosses telling us stuff to do at home on the computer. And we can start withdrawing from our responsibilities. We start isolating ourselves. We start putting things off. And then we get those unhealthy things going on where we use food or drugs or alcohol to cope with what's going on. And we take our frustration out on others. And then we start thinking, it doesn't matter if I go to work or not. I'm just not going. So we have that absenteeism. And when we see burnout in the workplace, what does that look like? Well, there's a lot of turnover. There's a lot of times that people just don't show up. We have that decreased productivity or morale. We're just not committed anymore to what we're supposed to do. We have poor communication. And we get to the place where we can't compromise. I'm not working with anybody. It's going to be my way or no way. And then that affects our personal life. And then that gives us a decreased capacity to provide care. Now, when we say provide care, that can be taking care of our parents. It can be taking care of our spouse. It can be taking care of our children. It doesn't have to be somebody sick you're taking care of, but just think about what you do every day. We all take care of not only ourselves, but whoever's in the house. So what can we do to deal with burnout? One of the biggest things is encourage each other. Give your coworkers a pat on the back. Acknowledge their strength. Use your teamwork. That's why people are in your department. We work together, and we want to encourage mutual respect. We want to tell each other, good job, way to go. So communication's the key. If we can assist somebody, help them, because you never know when you may need help. And if you're willing to help others, they're certainly going to be willing to help you. The other thing is, if we know what we're doing, that really helps us in our job. If we don't know what we're doing, or we don't feel competent to do what we need to do, then we're not gonna feel good about what we do. And we want to get to know each other. Respect. If I respect you, you're going to respect me. And we want to do each other, have that respect for each other. And it could be we want to do that mutual problem solving. I don't know everything. There's not one person that knows everything. But if we work together, we can figure it out. So before you speak, think. Think about the word think. The T in think is it true? The H, is it helpful? I, is it inspiring? N, is it necessary? And K, is it kind? There was a meme on Facebook that said, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. Kindness doesn't cost us anything, and we never know what effect that's going to make on somebody. So, dealing with burnout, we have to take time for ourselves. It doesn't have to be a lot of times, it can be 30 minutes. Whatever pampering yourself looks like for you, it could be different for all of us. It could be that we just need to laugh. Is there a TV show that we need to watch that makes us laugh? Is it a friend that we can call? We all have that one person that's funny that can make us laugh. And if nothing else, get up from the table, get up from your computer, and just breathe for a minute. Go out the front or back door and just look around. Doesn't have to take long, but it just gives you different scenery. The other thing is we have to take care of ourselves. How many times that we as caregivers put our care on the back burner? We have a doctor's appointment, but we cancel it because somebody needs us to do something. Do we exercise? That's always the last thing. We're too tired to exercise. Are we eating well? Are we sleeping well? Are we taking care of our spiritual side? And whatever that looks like for you, whether it's praying, meditating, but we have to take care of ourselves that way too. So how do we recover from burnout? There's a method called the 5-3-1 method. 5 minutes a day of mindfulness, meditation, prayer, relaxation, whatever that looks like for you. Think of 3 reasons to be grateful. Surely, with everything that's going on, we have 3 things that we can be thankful for. And then one of the most important things is do 1 act of kindness a day. 1 kind word can change somebody's entire day, and that doesn't cost us anything. So remember, burnout is a process that occurs over time. It's more than typical stress, but we want to be familiar with the signs so it doesn't happen to us. Coping with burnout takes time, awareness, and sometimes creativity. But if we start with a happier and less burned out then you get a better, more effective caregiver. And remember, burnout can be resolved. Whether it's starting the day with a relaxing ritual, we want to adopt healthy eating, exercise, and sleeping habits. And it's okay if we say no. When we get all those requests, we don't have to say yes to all of them. It could be that we need to restart that hobby that we've let go and learn how to manage stress. So, if you feel yourself feeling anxious and you need to talk to somebody, you can call Eastpointe at 800-913-6109. They're always there. Somebody will always answer the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Thank you.